Hello students, today we are going to cover an important chapter, India's cultural roots. Before starting the chapter, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So, I am Raghav Daksh, currently pursuing history honors from University of Delhi College of Vocational Studies. Now let's dive into the chapter. About the introduction, Indian culture is thousands of years old. Think of it like a big tree where roots, trunks, and many branches are there. I've pasted a picture here so you can imagine the culture like a tree. Now there are different branches of India's culture, which are art, literature, science, religion, medicine, governance, and even martial arts. Cool, right? So uh, these Indian culture had its own different branches in different sectors or different fields, just like I mentioned. So the culture of India was described by many school of thoughts, and it was shaped time to time. We'll talk about it later. Firstly, let's talk about Vedas. What are Vedas? So Vedas means knowledge. Ved means knowledge. It came from a Sanskrit word which is Ved. Now, there are four different Vedas, which are Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, and Atharveda. Rig Veda is the most important. Remember that. Okay. Now these are the oldest texts uh, where hymns are passed down orally. So at first these Vedas were transferred orally. The knowledge was given to passed or given to the students orally time to time. But later on it was written and composed by rishis and rishikas in early Sanskrit. Now, Vedic beliefs and values are there, such as it mentioned some of the gods such as Indra, Agni, Varun, and Saraswati, etc. The main idea was written that all gods are formed of one supreme power, that all gods work together and they created a social order, they created humans. So it talked about the supremacy of God. The main values taught in Vedas are truth, which is rhythm, and unity. We all know about truth, and we all know about unity, that is brotherhood, and working together, etc. Uh, there is a famous hymn which talked about which mentions how there is a sentence mentioned that truth is one. Wise people call it by different names. So truth is only one. Only wise people call it with by different names. Okay, so it was written in Vedic uh, Vedas. Now let's talk about Vedic society. So during the time of early Vedic society was divided into janas, or we can say clans. They were called janas, and there were different clans. These janas. Now the example of these clans are Bharatas, Kurus, Yadus. Um, about the governance, king was known as Raja, and there were assemblies to discuss matters, which were Sabha and Samitis. Just like you can relate this to our contemporary world, to our current surroundings, such as you must have heard about village panchayats. They sort all sort of matter. Imagine the king like the sarpanch or the sarpanch of a kul or sarpanch of the village. So you can relate this governance to the current contemporary world too. Now there were different professions too, such as farmers, weavers, potters, builders, priests, etc. Now there were different Vedic school of thoughts too, such as uh, yajnas, which were rituals. This was the practice. This is the practice. You can even see how priests perform yajnas in marriages, during the puja, or any ritual. So these yajnas became complex, and later on, Upanishads came up with new ideas such as rebirth, karma, Atman, self, Brahman, uh, which is universal essence. Okay, so these were the new ideas that were coming up with Upanishads. Upanishad teachings were that all life is connected. Okay, now the Vedant and Yoga concept also came, which became the foundations of Hinduism. These were the teachings which became the foundation of Hinduism later. Now let's talk about Buddhism. Before understanding Buddhism, we need to understand who initiated it, who started it. So the founder of Buddhism was Siddhartha Gautama. Uh, Gautam Buddha, we all know him. He's the god. We have seen him in texts, in books, in movies, in cartoons, etc. Okay, so many people talk about Gautam Buddha. So he was the founder of Buddhism. His real name was Siddhartha Gautama. He attained enlightenment at Bodh Gaya under a tree. So why did he attain enlightenment, and why did he left his house in the first place? So he did that because of an incident happened with him. He went out one day and he saw misery, a dead body, an old man with misery. So he was confused that why all this exists in our world. So in order to understand the truth, he attained enlightenment and started meditation. His main key teachings were ahimsa, which is non-violence, and ending suffering and ignorance. Um, there were sanghas which were created, which is the community of monks and nuns. Its main work was to spread Buddhism. We have talked about Buddhism. Now let's see what is Jainism. So its founder is Vardhaman. His real name was Vardhaman, but he became Mahavira after attaining the enlightenment. He achieved enlightenment after 12 years. His key teachings were ahimsa, non-violence, and anek Vedanta, which is many sides of truth. That there is single truth, but there are other sides of truth too. Aparigraha, which is non-possession, that a person cannot hold too many possessions, too many things. Um, Now, spread and impact. Monks and nuns spread Buddhism and Jainism across India. They built monasteries and lived in caves. Many archaeological finds are also found um, where the names of monks and ancient names of monk was written, and ancient monasteries were there in archaeological finds. So we have evidences. We have evidences how it spread and how did it impact. Now, other school of thought. There is other school of thought too, which is Charvaka. Okay, so what was Charvaka? This school of thought believed that only material world exists, that there is no life after that. You need to live, predate self, and there is no concept of rebirth here. So you've seen that there is a concept of rebirth in the Vedic culture, but it is not there. So this is different from that culture. So they believe that there is no life after death, and but not many people followed this ritual, followed this school of thought, so it did not become popular. Now, there were some shared concepts too. There were some common ideas which Vedic culture, Buddhist culture, and Jaina culture shared together, such as these ideas were dharma, which is that you do your duty. It is your duty to do immediate action, your dharma, okay, your responsibility. Karma, which is actions and result, that what actions you are doing, you will receive the same results. If you do good, you will receive the good result. If you do bad, you will receive the bad result. The concept of rebirth is there in Vedic, Buddhist, and Jain, and the ending suffering and ignorance, the cycle that everyone teaches, that you need to escape the cycle of suffering. You need to end the cycle of suffering. And how are you going to end this cycle of suffering? They all talked about meditation. They all talked about praying. They all talked about many rituals, yajnas, etc. So all these cultures have different their thought. Folk and tribal traditions. So India was also has rich oral traditions with teachings passed down through folk and tribal practices. There were constant exchange between these traditions and formal school of thought. Okay, so India was very rich in oral tradition. Everything was transferred orally with teachings passed down and through folks and tribal practices. So they were different practices also. Example, if we talk about example of folks and tribal roots, the Jagannath deity of Puri was originally a tribal god, okay, who is worshipped. Many tribes have their own versions of Hindu epics like the Mahabharata and Ramayana. So this is very interesting. If you don't know it, there are different versions of Mahabharata and Ramayana in different geographical areas. So everyone has their own version of Mahabharata. Everyone has their own version of Ramayana. So people perceive their culture, everyone according to them, according to how they thought, how they think. So the nature worship is also common. That people worship rivers, mountains, and animals was seen as sacred. In conclusion, I think we are at the end of the chapter. In conclusion, India's spiritual and cultural landscape is shaped by the deep interaction of formal philosophies and folk traditions. See, so this diversity has created a rich and layered heritage that continues to influence India today. So there were different of formal philosophies. Different people talked about religion, culture, and there are different folk traditions too. All this mixed together created a diversity of culture and has created a rich and layered heritage that continues to influence India today itself, even today. So you see that India is the only country where there are different culture, different languages. It is very diverse in nature, and many people admire it a lot. So this is the you know a good thing about India, that it has diversity and many religion uh, exist together at the same time, and they share different culture, and we learn different things from each culture. So this is how the India's culture is. Yeah, so this was all about the chapter. I hope you liked it. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.